So after this motivational video, yeah, indeed, Natasha, Les Brown is a great motivational speaker and was a real inspiration for millions of people, I believe. And I share with Daniel our love for this man because he's really an inspiration. So yeah, now we will begin with our program, and I will be telling you first about introducing Danial. Daniel is a Liberian IT and leadership development professional born in Monrovia, Liberia. In 2011, he became the first non-party affiliated student leader to get elected to the University of Liberia Faculty Council, where he represented over 25,000 students. He is also the founder and executive director of Leading Change, Inc., a leadership development organization working to promote innovative development solutions in 5 key areas, including education, technology, leadership, entrepreneurship, and agriculture. Please help me in welcoming Danial Charles. Danial, please tell us more about yourself and about your program. Hello, Dr. Shira. Thanks for being here. And now it's...
Thank you. My apologies for being late, but I kept trying to get in on the old link and then finally saw, and I sent you an email for the new link. And then I went, oh, look, there's an updated link. So I'm here. Yay.
Yeah, you're
Hi, Natasha.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think, Jonathan, in the background, I've been sending the new links to a lot of people who are also reaching out through WhatsApp. And I want to thank you for the introduction. I want to thank everybody for joining in. I was a little bit carried away by listening to Les Brown and others again on the little motivational video. I believe that Les Brown messages are so deeply profound that they can only be experienced probably once in a generation. And you are not easily going to have somebody so special coming around just every time. But I want to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Danial Charles, born in Monrovia, Liberia, like Jonathan said. And I am the founder and executive director of Leading Change. And Leading Change, it's a global development nonprofit leadership organization that focuses specifically working to provide solution in 5 key areas. We work in leadership development, technology, work in agriculture, entrepreneurship, and obviously we work with a focus on education innovation. But today, basically, I like to talk about what I do and what I've been doing for the last 8 years. So I teach strategic leadership principles for individual and organizational success. And like Jonathan, I have been in so many global leadership seminars, helping to sharpen my skills, helping to learn, helping to develop, and just helping to work with people. I run 4 basic leadership programs right now. Basically, Principles of Leadership Development 1, Principles of Leadership Development 2, Principles of Potential or Capacity Realization, and Principles of Strategic Infinite Intelligence. These are programs that are designed to provide individual and organizational success. But today, for our program, I am not basically here to talk in details about any of these principles, but I'm honored today to share with you another special set of principles. My conversation today will focus on talking about 5 other basic leadership principles that can be effectively cultivated to help bring success to one major leadership constraint. And one of the things I've shared with Jonathan that we've been able to differentiate a little bit in our time of working together. Today, here are what you can expect, and here are the other things that you are not going to hear. See, I have been to over at least 40 different global leadership seminars, and almost everyone I have went to, I've heard people talking about what is your mission? What is your goals? What are your objectives? What are the things you're looking forward to do? Don't expect to hear that from me in this conversation today. Like I said, this was going to be a groundbreaking approach to leadership and communication. And I think one of the benefits of going to several leadership events is to be able to put together something more distinguished, something more profound, that really, not just in a theoretical sense, but in a practical sense, helps people to start from where they are. So what I'm looking at doing today here is to begin this conversation, like I said, by talking to you, not about what your goals are, not about what your mission statement is, not about what your plans are, but basically something different. We will talk about 5 principles that can be cultivated to help bring profound success to one major leadership constraint. So without much ado, I would like to jump into this conversation. In the early 2000s, Microsoft and other big corporations did a huge favor for leadership. They conducted a research that was basically focused on understanding how well can we retain information, or how well can we focus since the information age. It will interest you to know that that research came up with some intriguing findings. And the first one, which basically I want to focus on today to help begin my conversation, it says that today, people can really only concentrate for 8 seconds. Prior to the information age, a lot of conversations provided answers that people could at least concentrate for 12 seconds. The average human being was able to concentrate for 12 seconds. But today, they said that retention ability has dropped. So today, people can really be able to concentrate for about 8 seconds. And after that, they get a little bit distracted. But the beauty of the research also provided a new answer that while it is true that our ability to concentrate has dropped, our ability to multitask has drastically increased. So in the information, the mobile phone, and the technology age, we have the ability to multitask. And there are so many things that can be done with that ability. But one of our biggest challenge, which I will begin my conversation on, I will start with the constraint. Very often, a lot of us, and many of us, are living in a world that every single day is producing 3 types of people. And the first group is the engaged, the second group is the disengaged, and the third group are witnesses. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of the engaged, disengaged, and witnesses. They all have distinct characteristics. But what I want to talk about is, regardless of what group you think you find yourself in, or where you think you can envision yourself right now, whether you engage or you disengage or you are a witness, there is an underlying characteristics that is common to people that are within these 3 groups. And what is that underlying characteristics is, as we move forward with things that we try to accomplish in life, when we start getting fight backs, when we start getting challenges, when we start facing difficulties, very often, because most of us are naturally inclined to the path of least resistance versus the path of great resistance, disillusionment usually sets in, and that leads to stagnation. And when stagnation starts, we go into the constant state of either despair or extreme dissatisfaction. And what happens in the end is that many of us become overly or aggressively impatient. whatever is it that we are doing. And if many conversations I know you've participated in and I have participated in, we often go to places where people teach us how to be patient. But today, I want to talk to you about how not to only be patient, but to become classically impatient. What you need is to become classically impatient. And there are principles surrounding how you can become classically impatient. And today, that little story was just designed for me to be able to tell you around these principles. So whatever you would take from the conversation today, this conversation is centered around basic set of principles. The first thing is capacity is a function of time and results are a function of action or the lack of action thereof. So the 5 principles we will talk about today will be capacity, time, basically action, results, and lack of action. These principles will be used to solve one major leadership constraint, that is impatient. So impatient is a leadership constraint that somehow we are all confronted with. So let's use these 5 principles to talk about how to address that situation. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today on how to become classically impatient is, number 1, lay a foundation for change. When I say lay a foundation for change, I intentionally use the word foundation to mean don't start anything with the expectation that it has to be immediately completed. A foundation provides a sense that there is a possibility of a future concept that could be accomplished. So when you're trying to lay a foundation for change, I think the greatest source to connect to is your greatest family. Many of us have had conflict with understanding what is our greatest family. In this world, sometimes people will wait for your arrival, and sometimes people will accompany you to your departure. You have to do it alone almost always. Your arrival, very often at that hospital, people will be there to welcome you, but you come alone. Sometimes people come together, especially when you're having twins and babies. But when you're departing, a lot of people will depart alone, lie very humble in a very quiet place. You can be able to figure out the definition of a family on the basis of, you know, people welcome us and people help us depart. But there is one single thing that is going to come with you and is going to leave with you. It's going to be patient with you. It's going to work with you. It's going to stand by you. It's never going to leave you. And what that thing is your gift. Your gift is your greatest family. It's never going to leave you. During hard times, during good times, during bad times, during celebrated times, it's going to be with you. When we are born, all of us receive a mission letter into the University of Life, and you should graduate with the act of understanding your gift. And many of us go into the physical universities where we accomplish all these master's degrees and degrees in science and technology and everything. Every other thing, it's meant to really cultivate your gift in the University of Life. This is why a lot of people graduate with all the different degrees, but some of them are miserable. Some of them are successful, but some of them are really only doing a few things, helping other people live their dreams. That is a good thing in life. And I often say, when you decide to dedicate yourself to help other people live their dreams, do it passionately and celebrate yourself about it. But if you feel you are out here for a bigger and a better purpose, to inspire, to grow, to live, and to be fulfilled, then this journey is a journey that I'm glad to welcome you into. When you lay that foundation, the next thing you have to be able to do is to face the wind. When people lay a foundation, often builders will tell you we have to go about 4 to 8 inches into the ground because our expectation is that there will be windstorm. There will be thunder, there will be rain, there will be flood. So we have to go into the ground, and sometimes they back this up by steel bar and everything. As you begin your journey, you got to lay your foundation with the expectation of facing the wind. You cannot begin with riding the wind. Facing the wind is an understanding that you must have. Step number 2 on becoming classically impatient is to commence to your past. When you have laid the foundation and you prepare yourself mentally to face the wind, it's time to commence to the past. How do we commence to the past? I'll tell you this. A lot of us never get physically pursuing our dreams. We often get mentally tired pursuing our dreams. As you commence to your past, you have to build mental resilience. This is really important. And I will talk a little bit about mental resilience in step 3. I just wanted to introduce it first in step 2. But under building mental resilience, you have to be able to focus on your ability and multiply. Many of us are faced every single day with multiple distractions. The ability to focus, like I talked about at the beginning of this conversation, has become incredibly important as we pursue our dreams. You can use focus and multiplication as a framework for supporting, first, your gift and the foundation that you have laid using the mental resilience principles. Step number 3 that I wanted to talk to you about today is, what are the odds? What are the odds? Understanding that because you are building, the natural response from the universe will be challenges, breakdowns, difficulties. How do you understand the odds and move forward? And one of the principles you need to use to understand the odds is to believe that everything is temporary. Now, we don't like to accept this, but we ourselves are temporary. All we have are temporary constraints. And one of the best stories I share with people, especially young people who are coming up and want to pursue something, is Stephen Scott. Stephen Scott graduated, and you don't know Stephen Scott, you may have heard the name, but Stephen Scott, it's now a billionaire in the United States. He's a New York Times bestseller, and he's written books. One of his best books I would encourage you to read is The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. But Stephen Scott graduated from college, and within 6 years, he could not keep any single job. And he thought there was probably wrong with him mentally, because every boss that he worked under said, look, Stephen, I don't think we could do this. You are not focused in. So he lost 9 different jobs within 6 years. He was at the end of the road and felt like his world was crashing down. But what happened? Everything was temporary. When Stephen got his 9th job, his boss man did not only employ him, but his boss man made him a partner. And when his boss man sensed that Stephen was creative, he said, Stephen, you're not only going to be your employee, you'll be your partner. So he made Stephen a partner. And what Stephen did, Stephen built one of the greatest marketing campaigns in the US marketing history that later led to the creation of a multi-million-dollar company. Today, Stephen, like I said, he's a billionaire, writing books, traveling the world, and doing everything. But that's his story. He couldn't keep 9 different jobs right out of college. At that moment, Stephen thought all the constraints he faced in life were permanent. But later on, look at the return. He was building. All we have really is what I call strategic infinite intelligence. This is part of some of the principles I talk about in our leadership program. What is strategic infinite intelligence? This is a concept available to you that, if cultivated well, will always move your mind to a constant state of resolute peace. You need to tap on your ability of strategic infinite intelligence. The final stage on becoming classically impatient is mastering your cause. How to master your cause is to be able to utilize the principles of self-discipline to turn your lights on. You have a responsibility to be a light to a world that is constantly evolving, but requires leadership. Today, the biggest challenge in our universe is not the lack of resources, it's rather the management and distribution of resources. So what is missing? It's not the resources in our beautiful universe. Leadership is missing to give us the opportunity to all have the chance to pursue and fulfill our dreams. So the way you turn your lights on is by mastering your cause and doing it so well that the world can no longer ignore you. And when you do this, you have a responsibility. On my last step to becoming classically impatient is be a moral voice. The world today needs people who can act on integrity. Limit your transactional focus and drive a burn of making impact. As I see many of you gathered here today, this conversation for me, it's not just to be a transactional conversation, but to be deeply profound so that together we can work together on different issues and move forward. As I leave, I want to leave you with this. Don't just focus on being patient. Follow these principles and become classically impatient. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everybody.
So after this motivational video, I'd like to begin by introducing myself. And thank you, Daniel, one more time for your contribution. And yeah, I am a certified body language master, lie detection trainer. I am a communication skills coach, a TEDx speaker, a public speaking coach, and a featured guest on a TV show analyzing politicians' body language and telling them at the end of the episode that they were actually lying. So I help people in knowing whether or not their prospects are not telling the truth, whether they are getting, let's say, the best body language possible to profile people, to know their personality traits, and also to manage their own emotions. And this is what we will be talking about today in this communication section. And this will be also the promotion for the program that we will be giving me and Daniel starting next week. So first, as for your own body language, when you want to address people and to speak in public, and what we know is that there are some things that are essential to do and other things that we need to avoid. So let's say some of the things that we have to, or it's better to do, is first to have, let's say, first a smile on our faces and to have our face lifted up so that people will know that we are optimistic individuals, and this will help them to become also optimistic. And also something that is very important is your breath rate, because if you are anxious, if you are angry, if you have negative emotions, this will be projected with your voice, and eventually it will give the bad example. It will give the perception that you are not confident and or you don't have positive emotions on the topics that you are talking about. So yeah, it's very good first to analyze your own body language before going and speaking to other people. And the other thing is that personality traits are really important, because if you are an agreeable person, you are a compassionate person, a polite person, you are having like this projected in your own body language and in your own voice and in your words, because you will be and people like agreeable people, because disagreeable people have like lack of empathy, and nobody likes people who are lacking in empathy, because they are more into let's say competition. They like to destroy others, and they don't feel guilty about it. So I encourage people to be more empathetic, because when you feel empathy towards others, they will feel it. They will know that you understand and you actually care. And this should be your mindset before going to meet other people, to put other people's needs first and to try to help them. And this is the best strategy, to see people as people and not as objects. Because if you see people as objects, you will be seeing them as means towards your goal. But you don't want to do that, because they won't trust you that way, and it will show with your body language and in your nonverbal communications as well. So even though you are thinking of it rationally to say some sort of things, but nonverbally it won't be congruent with what you are saying. So I encourage you to change your mindset from within in order to have the best approach possible. So yeah, having said that, another personality trait, and this is something that we'll be going in depth later on in the program, another personality trait is conscientiousness. And a lot of people have a lot of ideas. But when it comes to goals, you need implementation. So if you have, let's say, the openness for great ideas, you have a creative thinking, but you don't have the will or the willpower to do what it takes in order to get towards your goals, you won't get far. And you can be so creative, but you need that willpower. And I believe that that's related to your projection for the future. So if your future self is now communicating with you through the things that you are actually interested in. So if you are interested in something, you have a goal, you have a vision, it's very important to do those action steps. And this is what we'll be elaborating in the program, as well as channeling your negative emotions. Because as you heard in the video, we have like the main two fears, fear of failure and fear of success. If you have fear of failure, it's like you just have to think about not doing anything. So it's comfortable for the short term, but on the long run, you won't be benefiting from it, and your future self won't congratulate you for that. So whether it was me, whether it was Daniel, or many of you, I believe that you are grateful for your previous selves, because you worked and you did what you should do, what you should have done in order to get where you are right now. And of course, you now put bigger dreams in front of you, and you are working on them as well. So this is so important in channeling also your negative emotions, because I had like a big challenge in public speaking. I had those fears. But later on, I worked on them and also became a TEDx speaker, and now more than 60 TV interviews throughout the past 4 years. And I am now a regular guest on a TV show, and that was the end of the first season last week. So if you have told me 10 years ago that I will be doing all of these things, I probably wouldn't have believed it, because the amount of challenge and the amount of work was so intense and was so big. And I appreciate if people have these challenges and at the same time they are working to overcome them, because I've been there and I was able to overcome what I faced. So and that's why I can help you to overcome that challenge. So yeah, after doing that, the best body language possible, you have your emotions ready, everything is good. You need to get the right amount, the right feedback from the individuals. And it's not about them being polite and not getting you the right feedback. You need to know their subconscious feedback. You need to pay attention on their facial expressions, on their bodily gestures. Because if you don't do that and they are polite people, They will tell you, yeah, everything is good, everything is okay, but at the end of the day, you won't be benefiting from this type of feedback, and they will be going and not getting back to you because they had this negative issue and they didn't tell you about. So it's very important to know what's going on wrong and try to address it the best way possible in order to communicate with people on the same level and to know whether they are accepting what you are saying or they have another, let's say, negative judgment about it. So yeah, we'll be talking and explaining about body language reading as if you are reading the other person like an open book, and reading the room also if you are like in a room of group of people. So that's the main 4 pillars that we will be talking about in communication, and you will be able to raise the bar when it comes to communication. And I encourage you to subscribe for the program. We will be sending you the link to subscribe, as well as the program that we will begin next Saturday at 10 a.m. Mountain Day time. Having said that, I would like you now to send us your questions, me and Daniel. So we have some time. Please feel free also to raise your virtual hand or your hand to ask questions and or put your question in the chat room, chat box. So yeah, Shira, please.
Jonathan, just to let you know, it's 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, because Mountain Daylight Time is the true mountain time. And right now it's just 10:54, and you said 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So, or you've got to look at it because Arizona is a weird state.
Ah, okay. So now.
So like the regular, like Colorado, Idaho, they're all at 11 a.m. But there are those of us that are not, and we're still on Mountain Standard. It's weird. So either put it into Eastern time or Pacific time and let everybody go from there, because that MDT is going to confuse the heck out of everybody.
Oh, I see. And this is why maybe some people weren't able to join, maybe. Okay.
Jonathan, yeah, Dr. Shira is right. We're gonna have to put it on the Eastern time, and obviously once we put it on Eastern time,
I would recommend put it Eastern and Pacific, and then everybody else in the US can work either forwards or backwards off those 2 time zones, let alone the rest of Europe. They're on their own schedule.
Yeah, indeed. So thank you, Dr. Shira, for this intervention and suggestion. And now, anybody else have any question, or you want any other clarification about the program? Yes, Darlington, please tell us about your thoughts.
Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Primarily, I want to say thanks to Jonathan, and thanks to Charles for affording us the time to be a part of this meeting today. I got so inspired by the presentations made by both of you. And it's not a question, just a little comment I want to make. So I love the program, and what you just said, you, Jonathan, and that of Chaz, that has to do with identifying your true value and what you have in you, and go for what you really want to achieve. Like Chaz put up earlier on, the issue of the leadership is missing among people globally. So if we don't have leaders, I mean, there will be no problem that will be solved, because the world we live in today needs ideas. And you spoke about the body language, which of course I do truly admire, that you have to be empathetic, and which, of course, most often in society, people would just want to go by their ego. So I just want to contribute to what you said, and I appreciate both of you. And I love this identical meeting. I would love to be the part of it anytime and any other day. So thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Darlington, for this intervention, and yeah, from me and Daniel, we also appreciate that, and of course, young leaders and leaders in general, they need to have this in mind: is that to become somebody who is really agreeable to people, we need to put people's benefits first in order to succeed in our path, especially to achieve our goals. So, because the happiness is in giving, it's not in receiving, and this is what we need to put in mind. So. Great, thank you so much, Darlington. And now, anybody had anything else? So, Natasha, great info. I have to get ready for my next meeting. Sure, Natasha, thank you so much for attending. Lisa, empathy is essential. Indeed, the person you are speaking to in that moment should be the most important person in the world at that moment. Indeed. Yeah, indeed, Lisa, you're right. And yeah, also she said this was enlightening and inspiring. You two are incredible leaders. Thank you so much. And human beings, you are helping others to transform into people they are destined to become. Indeed. So thank you also, Jubbe. I don't know if I had that right, correct. Great discussion. Thank you both. Thank you for your contribution as well. So I would like to conclude this meeting by thanking you all for being here. And I'm going to ask Daniel if you have anything, any last words you want to say to the group.
Jonathan, thank you. I want to first of all say we are humble to be able to share our stories and everything we've shared with all of you here today. We want to call on all of you to summon your individual capacity within you, and not simply to look at all these global, national, and local challenges as problems for other people to solve. I know we wake up every single morning with the concept that life in some ways has already been decided, and what is it that we have to do. But like I spoke about the three groups of people that are being produced every day, the engaged, disengaged, and witnesses. The beautiful thing about it, it's your choice to make on what group of people you want to permanently belong to. Some people love being witnesses to they disengage and they engage. Some people love being disengaged. Others love to be engaged. Whatever is it that you choose, you got to remember that motivation will only get you started. Capacity will keep you going. And capacity, the process of developing that is a function of time, like I spoke about in those leadership principles. So as you begin to work on your dreams, be prepared first to face the wind. All of us are facing the wind somehow in our path. And most often, we are naturally inclined to want to take the path of least resistance. When we begin to experience these challenges, we often try to make a decision on, is this where I belong? But I will end with this. The consequence or consequences of being a mere follower, it's always greater than becoming a leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And I'd like to, Abu Bakr is saying, let me you people for a remarkable initiative like this. I am so grateful to be here and learning more. Thank you too for your presence and for attending this webinar. And yeah, Darlington, you had anything?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you.
Great.
I'm okay.
So thank you
I
so
think
much.
Darlington is just enjoying the program, Jennifer.
Oh, right. I'm into it. I'm into that. Well.
We are also enjoying his presence and all of the people here on this call. So thank you so much. God bless you and have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.